All right, once again, good morning. If you're just joining us right here on the Voice of the People, 96.1 FM. It is the Wednesday edition of the Morning Ride, and we are that part of the show where we go into the arena. In fact, to be honest with you, the gates of the arena are open, and what that means is that anybody and everybody can come into the arena for us to have an engaging, interactive conversation, especially as it relates to the subject of 2027. Yes, Goodluck Jonathan, eligible to run for president in 2027, to be or not to be? That's the question this morning. And that question came about after Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, advised former President Goodluck Jonathan against running for president in 2027. Now, Wike warned that Jonathan was being misled by those who deceived him and played him in the past. Addressing journalists in the FCT, he charged the former president not to allow himself to be used again by politicians who deceived him in the past. Wike also distanced himself from contesting for the presidency in 2027. And he explained that he won't run for president because he works for President Bola Tinubu and has integrity to protect. Of course, that comment has elicited a lot of reactions. And in the past couple of days, we've had all kinds of reactions with regards to President Ebele Jonathan's ability to contest the 2027 election. Let me start with some of the reactions. Legal luminary Dr. Monday Ubani, SAN, has clarified that former President Goodluck Jonathan is constitutionally eligible to contest the 2027 presidential election. Ubani, in a legal analysis released on Monday, said the controversy surrounding Jonathan's eligibility under Section 137, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended in 2018 has been misinterpreted. Now, according to him, the amendment, which bars anyone who assumed office to complete another president's tenure from contesting more than once, cannot be applied retroactively to disqualifying former President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, according to Ubani, he was quoted as saying, and I quote, "Jonathan became the president in 2010 by constitutional succession after the death of President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, not through election. He was only elected once in 2011 and served until 2015. Therefore, he has only one elected tenure to his record," Ubani explained. He cited two judicial precedents, Andy Solomon and Idi Biye Abraham versus Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, Federal High Court, Yenogwa, 2022, and Siriakos Njoku versus Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, FCT High Court, 2015, both of which upheld Jonathan's eligibility. Ubani further stressed that Nigerian courts, including the Supreme Court, have consistently ruled against the application, retrospective application of laws unless expressively stated. Now, the law is clear. Former President Jonathan is not under any constitutional disability to contest in 2027 if he so wishes. He stated while adding that the final decision rests with Jonathan and the Nigerian electorate. So, this conversation has continued to cause ripples in the political arena, and that's why we're having that conversation this morning. So tell me what you think. President Ebele Goodluck Jonathan, eligible to run for president in 2027, to be or not to be? Let's hear from you. The studio line is open, 0808 312-8618. That's the number, 0808-312-8618. You can hit us up and let's get your opinion. Because funny enough, the FCT minister had also said that talking to his PDP faithfuls, he told them that bringing President Jonathan and Peter Obi back to the PDP would destroy the party. And the fallout of that is the statement I read earlier of him advising former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan against running for presidency in 2027, warning him of being that he was misled by those who deceived him and played him in the past. So how do you react to all of this? Because whether we like it or not, politics seems to be the main focus as the days passed and in the build up to 2027. So it's important that we understand where we belong in the scheme of things and what we should be looking forward to in the build up to 2027. What do you think? President Ebele Jonathan, to run for president in 2027, to be or not to be. How do you see it? I mean, you just gaze into your crystal ball and let me know what you think about this development, right? Well, the shadow race for the 2027 presidential election, as it intensifies, former President Goodluck Jonathan clashed with critics over his rumored comeback. You know, he hasn't come out to authenticate that he's going to run. He hasn't said, and this has always been the trend. We saw it in 2015. We saw it in 2023. And now, in the build-up to 2027, it's happening again. Well, former President Goodluck Jonathan, through his brother Robert Aziba-Ola, lashed out at Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo, SAN, and legal scholar Professor Chidi Odikalu for warning the People's Democratic Party (PDP) against giving him its presidential ticket. Keyamo and Odikalu had argued that Jonathan's candidacy would face legal hurdles since he has been sworn in twice. Now, Ajibaola dismissed their concerns, insisting Jonathan is fully qualified to contest. He warned both men to steer clear, stressing that Jonathan has access to more experienced legal counsel. According to him, the debate over Jonathan's eligibility is a distraction fueled by unsolicited legal advice. So, more reactions. All right, now, as I said, this conversation continues to trend on the front burner. So this morning, I'm going to take you to a similar conversation that took place on Arise TV. In fact, as a result of this conversation, one of the trending headlines is the build-up to what promises to be an interesting clash between former presidential spokesman of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, talking about my big brother and colleague, Reuben Abati, Dr. Reuben Abati. We're both doctors, right? The Doctors Club. Anyway, Dr. Reuben Abati has questioned the person of the FCT minister when it comes to the subject of integrity and of course being positioning himself to be some kind of soothsayer. But before we go to that might just be our conversation tomorrow on the arena, and it will be fantastic to get your reactions to all of this development. But this morning, I'm going to take excerpts, about 16 minutes of it, let's just listen to that conversation where Dr. Reuben Abati, of course, and his team, including my colleague Rufai Oseni, had a conversation on Goodluck former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's eligibility to run for president in 2027. And they had Dr. Monday Ubani, SAN, a senior learned colleague of mine, to have that conversation. And he gave clarity to why he believes legally that former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is eligible to run for president or presidency in 2027. Take a listen to this.
Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, advised the People's Democratic Party, PDP, against fielding either former President Goodluck Jonathan or former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, as his presidential candidate in 2027. The minister stated that nominating Jonathan carried a constitutional danger tied to Section 137 sub 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which is suggested could bar anyone sworn in twice as president from contesting again. Joining us on this show to discuss the legality if Jonathan decides to run for office is Dr. Monday Ubani, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Good morning, Dr. Ubani, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Dr. Ruben, thank you for having me. Good morning.
Yeah, okay, Dr. Ubani, I'm sure you are very familiar with the narrative of this subject. But two things. Justice Dasha, in 2022, ahead of the 2023 presidential election, ruled, Federal High Court, sitting in Yenagoa, that in fact issues brought to the court by two litigants trying to stop President Jonathan from running in that election will not apply, because the amendment of Section 1373 could not have retrospective or retroactive effect, having been so amended in 2018. That's the bulk of it, the main submission. However, this time around, we have persons in the People's Democratic Party who have been calling on President Jonathan, persons in the NMPP calling on him, persons in the ADC saying that it's their best bet to run in 2027. We have not heard from President Jonathan himself other than commentaries by his cousin and by his current media advisor. Now, three, we have also had opinions from Chidi Odinkalu and Onikepo Braithwaite in the law pages of this day newspaper this morning. Odinkalu saying in his own commentary that, well, the judiciary is all, and they may want to please the government of the day. Onikepo quoting Section 182, I think sub 5, referring to the, the former governor of Ondo State case, saying that there is a lacuna in the law. Now, that's the narrative, as briefly as I can summarize it. What do you think? Can President Jonathan run in 2027 within the purview of these provisions and the subsisting decision by the Court of Justice Dasha, Federal High Court, Yenagoa, which has not been appealed?
Yeah, thank you once again, Dr. Ruben, and the other presenters in the House. I want to say this with a caveat, that my personal opinion, the legal interpretation of the eligibility of the former president clearly is not a validation, whatever opinion that I express is not a validation of whether I want him to run for the presidency of Nigeria 2027. Now I'm only looking at it from the legal perspective. You are very correct that as far back as 2022, even after the fourth alteration of the Constitution, there has been a judicial pronouncement that affirmed the tenure of former, the late Musa Yar'Adua's presidency, and he was naturally sworn in. But it is not by election, it's clearly by disposition of the law. Complying with Section 146 of 1999 Constitution is by operation of law. It was in 2011 that he ran for a proper election in which he won, 2011 to 2015, and he was sworn in. I think even in 2015, when he wanted to recontest, somebody went to court. There is this in Joko that went to court here in Abuja, FCT High Court. And only Justice Oniga, Oni Sangia, yes, one Mudashiri, ruled that the president then is eligible to run, and that there's nothing that has actually stopped, that's going to stop him from running, that the former oath that he took in 2010 was not by virtue of election, but by virtue of succession, that he succeeded the former president. An alteration of the constitution, what we call the fourth alteration in 2017, that came into operation in June in 2018. Now, by virtue of decided authorities by the Supreme Court, law at anywhere in the world is prospective within which to file an application for an extension of time, within which to file a very solid fact. And you have affidavit why you have wasted so much time before filing the appeal. And the court has a discretion whether to grant the leave for you to appeal out of time. So, I mean, 2022 and we're now in 2025. So if you must appeal that particular judgment, you have to give a solid reason why you have been sleeping on your right of appeal up to this point in time. And the court will now examine. It is not given to you by virtue of the fact that you have just brought an application. The court will examine the facts and the reason why you have failed to appeal within the time stipulated by the law. Yes.
Okay. So, I want to go back to, I'm good to see you again, Dr. Obali. This is Rufai here. I want to go back to the arguments that was cited initially by Chidiodin Kalu. And it goes back to the talk about the fears people have with the judiciary. I mean, you've said it explicitly here that it's a non-issue, that a court can't just be retroactive in its judgments. But we've also seen very troubling judgments by the judiciary. Time will not permit me to go through a list of them. And it's political season. And all cards are out in political season. What are your fears? Do you have any? Or do you trust the judiciary resolutely that the arguments will be meted up? Because you see, we can make very good arguments here and there, but once it sits in front of somebody in this country, interests abound. That's the country we live in now. It's not supposed to be right, but that's our country.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get.
Yeah, I'm in the witness box for you, and I'm ready to give you evidence, and I speak the truth and nothing but the truth. Our judiciary still respect what we call judicial precedent. There are precedents, there are so many authorities by the Supreme Court that actually have laid this issue to rest. That issue of retrospective application of statutes is no. There is a presumption for prospective. I mean, if you look at the case of Ono versus Nwobodo, there was an amendment of the Electoral Act, that then they wanted to give what you call retrospective interpretation to that law. The Supreme Court said no. There is also a case of Afolabi versus Governor of Oyo State. The same thing happened, where the court said, except there is an express provision in the law that says that this particular statute should be retroactive or retrospective, there is no way you can, enact a law and then begin to take away existing rights or begin to impose obligations. That the commencement of the law is when is from the day it becomes operational, from the day it is signed into law. Now, the amendment that we're talking about was done in 2017. So how could, by any stretch of imagination, for that law to be applicable to event that happened 2010 to 2015? And so I am here telling you with every amount of confidence that our judiciary has not degenerated to the level that they will now see such a judicial precedent, by the Supreme Court itself, and then probably now begin to take a different decision for political reasons. I doubt it. And I'm giving you evidence of the truth, my brother.
Okay, we're not in no finish, oh, my brother. God bless you.
Dr. Obani, now I cited two responses, two commentaries on this matter. Chidio Kalu,
that's correct.
Reading motives into what the judiciary is likely to do because of prevailing circumstances.
Okay.
So he went beyond the law to talk about what is realistic, pragmatic within the Nigerian environment. I also cited the example of Onikepo Braithwaite, whose comment is just before us this morning, who is saying, oh, there is a lacuna in the law if we take a combined reading of section 137 sub 3 and, you know, section 182, I think sub 3, or is it sub 5, you know, in the light of the Ondo State example. I would like you to address that. Is there a lacuna somewhere? Is there a need for us to be concerned about the integrity of the judiciary? Because you never know. The APC, already sounding as Keyamo is sounding, may still bring up this legal issue ahead of 2027. If, just if, President Jonathan decides that he wants to run. He has not decided yet. So all of this we're doing is just an academic exercise.
Yeah, Dr. Ruben, I will not succumb to pressure to speculate. I'm here to propound the law. We have jurisprudence. We have law. I don't see any gap. I mean, there is this interpretation that the Constitution says you have only 8 years within which to serve as a president. I mean, facts, you know, cases are decided by the facts. If there was a decision to that effect, when this matter now comes before the court will look at the facts. That the person you are talking about did not emerge as a president that is elected in 2010. He only came to complete a tenure in 2010. In 2011, he ran for an election in which he won and was sworn in. And the court has now decided, two decisions of the court, both the Federal High Court in Abuja here, and I mean the FCT High Court has decided, even as far back as 2015, that the president was eligible. Now in 2022, even after the amendment, the Federal High Court in Bayelsa has also affirmed the fact that there is no provision in the Constitution that disqualifies President Jonathan. And so if there is this court pronouncement that has not been appealed against, has not been nullified by any appellate decision, and so on what basis am I going to now probably engage in speculation? There is no gap. I don't see any gap. I'm saying when the matter comes before the court, and our court respects what we call judicial precedent, the Supreme Court has already stated in several cases, there are a plethora of authorities, that the law is always prospective. Any law you make today is prospective and not retroactive, except where the law expressly states that the provision is retrospective. So in the absence of that, I will not engage in any speculation and say, oh, this is what the judiciary may want to decide based on political reasons and all that. That won't be the job of a lawyer that knows what the law itself has already provided. I know there are things that can happen in Nigeria, but there are things that our judiciary cannot fall into. Yes.
Okay, Dr. Bani, thank you very much. We get your point. It's only under the military.
Former First Lady Dame Patience Jonathan just delivered a shocking public message to her husband that has everyone talking. She's begging him not to return to Aso Rock, and her reasons will leave you speechless. Former First Lady Dame Patience Jonathan has publicly advised her husband, ex-president Goodluck Jonathan, not to run for the 2027 presidential election. Speaking during a women's program, Patience made her position very clear about her husband's potential political comeback. She warned that the stress of governing Nigeria is too much for anyone to handle. According to her, once someone has been blessed to have left the presidential villa in Abuja, they should not plan to return. The stress of Nigeria is so much. If God can manage bring you out of it, you should glorify God. He has taken you there once. Why do you want to go there again?
Because to me, if you call me now for villa, I won't go there. I won't go there. Don't you see how young I am? Because the stress is so much. The stress of Nigeria is so much. If God managed bring you out of it, you should glorify God and thank God for the Lord's doing, because He's marvelous in His eyes. Because the stress is so much. He has taken you there so much. Why do you want to go there again? Yeah, I won't go. I need peace, so I need your love. I want to share love with you.
Her statement comes at a time when leaders of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) have been trying to convince Jonathan to contest the 2027 election. The former First Lady's warning appeared to be a direct response to the growing pressure on her husband to make a political comeback. Jonathan served as Nigeria's president from 2010 to 2015, but lost his re-election bid to former President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 by over 2.5 million votes. Since leaving office, Jonathan has largely stayed away from active partisan politics. Though he remains a member of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Nigerians have reacted strongly to Dame Patience's public advice. Some people have supported her position, saying the stress of leading Nigeria is indeed too much. Others believe Jonathan should return to help fix the country's problems. One social media user wrote, "It would be unwise for Jonathan to return," suggesting that those pushing him have selfish agendas rather than genuine love for him. Another social media user pointed at the same people who pushed him out are now asking him to come back. However, some Nigerians still want Jonathan to return, with another person saying, "We need you," in response to Patience Jonathan's comment. Interestingly, Patience Jonathan had earlier promised to campaign for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 election, saying she would work alongside First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu. According to her, the Tinubu supported her husband during the 2011 the pressure from the PDP leaders and some Nigerians. Jonathan himself has not made any official statement about running for president in 2027. Patience Jonathan has spoken. Do you think she's right to advise her husband against returning to politics? Or should Jonathan consider coming back to serve Nigeria again? Is the stress of being president really too much? Or is it worth it to serve the country? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Should Jonathan listen to his wife or listen to the people calling for his return? If you found this story interesting, please like this video.
All right, there you had it. Former First Lady, President, First Lady Patience Jonathan, sharing her candid and heartfelt message to her husband, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, amid growing speculations about possible return to contest for the office of the #1 citizen of the largest black nation on planet Earth, Nigeria, God's own country. Well, of course, that came shortly after Dr. Monday Ubani, SAN, giving his legal insight into the eligibility of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to, if he chooses, let me emphasize it like my senior colleague and brother Ruben Abati did in that interview, if former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan chooses to run for the presidency in 2027. So, that's why the conversation this morning. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, eligible to run for president in 2027, to be or not to be? Will he yield to the appeal of his darling wife, former First Lady Patience Jonathan, not to return to the Asu Villa? She says, look, the stress of running Nigeria is running Nigeria is too stressful. I mean, she alluded to the fact that she's looking younger now than when she was First Lady of the Federation. And I think Nigerians will also allude to the fact that even President Jonathan is looking younger since he left the Asu Villa. But it comes with the job. The stress comes with the job. I mean, not being #1 citizen and representing over 250 million Nigerians and growing, even though we are waiting for the census to confirm whether we are below 200 or above 250 million. But I mean, the estimated population as it is about 250 million and growing. So imagine being the man who has to take decisions on behalf of 250 million governors, 250 million coaches, 250 million ministers, 250 million councillors. Man, I don't envy President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Neither do I envy former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who right now is in a quagmire. Because, as the report said, he has stayed clear since he left office. He has been very tactful in not getting involved in the politics and politicking of Nigeria. He's been more of what I will call a diplomatic attaché, so to say, representing Nigeria at high level levels in the UN, ECOWAS, just to mention a few. And he has done a great job at that. I mean, he has consistently, I think he has taken in the line of Chief Anyoku, a man who is highly respected, a man who is highly a career diplomat. And I think that is the line President Ebele Jonathan, also following in the footsteps of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who himself has become somewhat of a career diplomat after leaving the presidency. So, I think Nigerians are waiting to see. As you heard, the opinions are divided as to whether former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan should return. Some Nigerians said, look, don't listen to these people. These are the same people who dug the hole for you in 2015 and ensured that you did not return as president for your second term, and now they are coming back like wolves in sheep clothing to delude you to run again, so that when it doesn't favor them, they will pull the rug from under your feet. And then there are Nigerians who remember what Nigeria was like under the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan administration. So those Nigerians are like, you know what? We need you. We need your experience. We need your insight. We need your ability to be able to, take those decisions, show empathy, so to say. And I think that's the major reason why Nigerians, those set of Nigerians are interested in having former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan return in 2027. So the conversation is loading. Reactions, counter reactions, continue to follow the fact that the PDP suggests that it is doing what it is, it can to bring back former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, bring back former governor of Anambra State, and 2023 presidential flag bearer for the Labour Party in the person of Peter Obi. These two names seem to resonate and create ripple effects in the political arena. And so because of that, the PDP, let's not forget, is supposed to be the main opposition party, having lost since 2015 to the APC and till this point. And over the years, since they lost to the APC, the PDP has been riddled with all kinds of internal crisis. Right now, there is another one brewing with the faction who call themselves eminent leaders of the party, putting about 6 demands, if I remember correctly, before the PDP ahead of their national convention that is built for Oyo State. And the PDP has said, look, they're standing their grounds, especially the PDP governors, that they're standing their grounds. They won't just allow any individual or group to continually hold the party to ransom. So that is another drama that is about to play out. And trust us, as always, right here on the Voice of the People, 96.1 FM, to keep our ears to the ground and our searchlight beamed on developments. Of course, I will try to bring in 1 or 2 PDP chieftains to give us an insight into how they intend to navigate this conundrum of a situation in the build-up to their convention. And of course, prior to shortly after their 102nd NEC meeting, reports came out that they said they will not take action against the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, and all of that. One would have anticipated that those are moves to, further consolidate the somewhat peace that the PDP had experienced in recent times. But surprisingly, the FCT minister and his cronies have once again pulled one out of the hat, and now the PDP is it's looking as if they take 2-3 steps forward, and then somehow some group just pulls them like 5 steps back. But if what the PDP governors have said is anything to go by, then we are in for quite a battle in the People's Democratic Party. And I mean, the last time I had a PDP chieftain in the house, he did emphasize that Nigerians are looking to the PDP as the political party that should ruffle the feathers of the APC come 2027. So there's a whole lot of talk about the eligibility of President Goodluck Jonathan, and of course the talk about whether to be or not to be, whether Peter Obi will eventually come. Because right now, Peter Obi has not identified what political platform. In recent times, the likes of DG Adeyanju and a host of other Nigerians have tagged Peter Obi to be a political prostitute. And of course, that is another conversation that is ongoing, the back and forth between Peter Obi and Deji Adeyanju, who in recent times has taken to maligning the person and character of the 2023 presidential flag bearer of the Labour Party and former governor of Anambra State in the person of Dr. Peter Obi. So tell me, what do you think? I mean, like our elders say, when 2 elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. And we are the grass right now. And it's getting pretty interesting as we continue to watch this back and forth in the political arena. But Tell me, what do you think? Hit us up on 0808 312 8618. Let's get your view. Let's get your comments, your reaction to all of this. How do you see this panning out? I mean, 2025 is almost coming to an end. So, and 2025 has been a year of drama, if you ask me. From January to this point, it's one drama every day. One day, one drama. One day, one drama. If it is not a political drama, it is an economical drama. I mean, Nigeria is not rift of one drama or the other. So, we, the citizenry, we, the polity, where are we in all of this? I mean, I know I can sense the thoughts of some Nigerians right now. Say, look, my brother John, oh, we are tired of talking. We've talked and talked and talked. Nothing has changed. But the fact remains that we have to keep talking. We have to keep talking. We have to keep talking with the hope that, you know, it's just like a story I read some time back that's talked about a man who had an assignment to move a boulder, a massive rock. And every day he would go to that rock and push and push. Excuse me. And at some point it looked as if the rock wasn't budging. But on the flip side, he noticed there was a change. And what was the change? His arms grew stronger. His muscles became firmer. He became, you know, more athletic. You just have to look, or let me put it this way. Let me borrow the words of Ernest Hemingway, one of my favorite authors. He said, if you look hard enough, that even in the darkness, in the thickest of darkness, if you look hard enough, you will see the light. So I think that we shouldn't give up on talking. We shouldn't give up on contributing our quota to nation building. We shouldn't give up on positioning ourselves, especially at a crucial time such as this, the build up to another general election. I know recent elections have shown that Nigerians have lost trust. Even reports by notable, respectable organizations have shown that Nigerians lack trust in the system. They don't trust the electoral umpire. They don't trust the police. They don't trust the current administration, because we are being told one thing and another thing happens, right? Some agree to a certain extent that, yeah, there seems to be some level of stability as far as the economy, as far as the currency is concerned. For almost a year now, it stayed at about 1,500 thereabouts, right? But when it comes to the realities in the macro economy, it's not, the numbers are not adding. The gaps, the data gaps are evident, you know. So on one hand, the government is saying one thing. In the reality, it's a totally different story. So I can understand if Nigerians are a bit hesitant, you know, to contribute to conversations of this nature. But again, like we say here on 96.1 FM, the voice of your people, now you have a voice. You can continue to put your voice, you know, in public discourse with regards to that we can change the narrative, and most importantly, redirect the trajectory with regards to what we expect between now and 2027. Okay, the number to call 0808 312 8618, 0808 312 8618. Remember, if you do get through on the phone line, do tell us your name, your location, and where you're calling us from. Of course, today we are looking at the conversation. Goodluck Jonathan, eligible to run for president in 2027? To be or not to be? That's the conversation this morning. To be or not to be? Hit us up on 0808 312 8618. Let's hear your thoughts. I mean, we've heard from Monday Obani, Dr. Monday Obani, SAN, who says, look, legally, as far as the 1999 Constitution as amended in 2018, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is eligible to run in 2027, and of course, his wife has reacted. I'm talking about former First Lady Patience Jonathan, who has said that, look, she has urged her husband, honey, let's not go back to Asuvilla. I beg, it's stressful. Right? And of course, we did highlight the point that she had already given her word that she would campaign for President Bola Tinubu. Her reasons being that President Bola Tinubu also supported her husband in 2011. So, like the saying goes, one good turn deserves another. So she believes in that saying, that one good turn deserves another, and she's appreciative, she's grateful for the fact that she and her husband were able to lead at some point. Well, I mean, no matter what you do, history cannot erase the fact that she and her husband did rule this great nation at some point in time. So it's etched in the annals of history that President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and First Lady Patience Jonathan were leaders of this great nation. And she's okay with that. She's satisfied with that, and pleading with her husband not to fall prey to the yearnings of the PDP and political leaders who are calling for him to return to the political arena. So that's the conversation. And remember, like I like to say, even when the show goes off the air, the conversation continues online. So don't forget to follow, like, share, and press the notification button where necessary, as far as VOP 961 FM is concerned, on Facebook, Instagram, and of course on X, formerly known as Twitter. We are also streaming live on our YouTube channel, so do well to also follow, like, subscribe, and click on that notification button so that every new edition of shows right here on 96.1 FM hit the online, you get to you get the pleasure to get to consume the content as much as you can. So special thanks to everyone for keeping it locked on 96.1 FM, the voice of the people. I am Nkamiang John the Beloved, also known as the Controversial. Trust me to be back tomorrow early.